I recently took the CELPIP exam and these were my scores: 10 in listening, 11 in reading, 12 in speaking, and 12 in writing. With these scores, I aced this exam, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing how you too can confidently pass the exam with flying colors, be it the CELPIP or any other professional English language exam. Let's get into it. CELPIP is a short form for Canadian English Language Proficiency Index Program. Basically an example take for permanent residency or for citizenship in Canada. And if you're interested in taking the CELPIP exam, or if you want to take the IELTS exam, this video will be very helpful to you. The reason why people take the CELPIP exam is because it's cheaper and people say it's slightly easier than IELTS. I was preparing for either of the two, then I eventually decided to go for CELPIP because it was cheaper, so why spend extra money? Like most English exams, CELPIP has 4 categories: listening, writing, speaking, and reading. And CELPIP is a fully computer-based exam. IELTS gives you the option to do a paper exam, but CELPIP is fully computer-based. Also, CELPIP is about 3 hours long. I heard IELTS is about 3.5 hours, so CELPIP is slightly shorter than IELTS. But the third thing to note is that you are tested on the Canadian modality, so you're tested on how well you fit into the Canadian culture if you intend to live and work in Canada. It's a North American accent, which is that an interplay between the regular American and the Canadian accent. So if you watch a lot of American movies, I'll get into that later, you'll be good to go with this exam. Last thing to note is that the scoring system is over 12. Now, generally speaking, once you score 9 and above, you essentially did well in the test. But depending on what you need the exam for, it's good to score at least a 10 in all categories. If you want to enter the express entry pool, the best score to get is a minimum of 10 in all categories. As the test progresses, it gets harder. So let's say, for example, the listening has 6 tests. Test 1, test 2 in listening are very, very simple. But as you progress to 4, 5, and 6, it gets harder. Same thing with speaking. It gets slightly harder because you get to describe more and talk a bit more for some categories. So let's get into each category. Firstly, I'll start with listening. In the listening exam, you have 6 tests. So it starts with a practice question. But my go-to guide for the listening exam is watch a lot of North American content, watch a lot of movies, watch a lot of TV series. And the tip is watch movies and TV series without the subtitles. That will train your brain to understand and grasp the North American accent without the subtitles. In the intonation, the accent is a bit different from what you're used to, especially if you're not from North America. If you're from Africa or Asia, you might have a challenge understanding the speed or the intonation or the pitch of the words they pronounce because it's different from your own dialect. But still, if you have like 2 weeks before the exam, I'll recommend anytime you're watching an American movie, anytime you're watching a Hollywood movie, try to watch it without subtitles and see if you understand everything that was said. Then if you don't understand it, go back, play the subtitles and see the things you missed. That will help you. But easy tip for passing the listening, because listening was actually my lowest score, which was actually surprising, but it's to understand the context. Are they arguing? Are they discussing? Are they lamenting? Are they happy? Are they excited? Like, are they graceful? Are they worried? The context matters. The context will help you understand which option to tick. Just listen to get the information. Listen to understand the situation and the context of the situation. But if you want to get at least 10, try your best to understand the context. So for example, listening to problem solving, understand the problem and understand what the speaker is coming from. Part 2 is listening to a daily life conversation. This one is actually very simple because when you're listening to a daily life conversation, you're just listening to understand where the person is coming from. That's why I said it's very important to understand the context, not just the information, but the context and the situation. Are they worried about the trip? Where are they going to? And this, like throughout the entire listening exam, throughout the entire CELPIP exam, it's important to have very fast note-taking skills. Learn how to summarize, because you can only listen to the audio once. So learn how to summarize, jot things down quickly, because you can't go back to listen to it again. You can't go back to change your answers. So you only listen to the audio once, and after the audio plays, you are taken to another page where you start answering the questions. So it's a good thing to listen for the context and have a very fast and efficient note-taking system. They will give you 2 sheets of paper. If one is full, you can order for another one, but you can't have more than 2 sheets of paper with you per time. So listening for information is still the same thing. Part 4, part 5, and 6 is where it gets tricky. Listening to a news item, part 4, listening to a discussion, part 5, and listening for viewpoints, part 6. The reason why it gets tricky is because in the news situation, you hear the reporter saying something, you hear interview from 2 or 3 people, and each of them have different viewpoints. So you have to understand the general news from the reporter, the news from interview A, interview B, interview C. The 3 people that were interviewed, 3 people that were part of the news report, you need to understand their own different viewpoints. So on part 5 is quite tricky, but it gets slightly tougher in listening to a discussion. But still remember that each person in that discussion or that news item has a different viewpoint. So understand each person's orientation, each person's point of view. That way, so for example, if you have 3 people talking and listen to a discussion, just take a note of one person's name, or A, B, C. This person is happy, this person is sad, this person is angry, this person loves sushi, this person loves rice, this person loves meat. So each of them have different viewpoints. So don't try to mix it up. That's where it gets tricky. And the last one, listening for viewpoints. So 4, 5, and 6 have that sort of understanding each individual's context and not mixing it up. So next is reading. Now, reading has 4 parts, and like I said, the more you progress, the more it gets tougher. So the first part is reading a correspondence. Second part is reading to apply a diagram. Third part is reading for information, and fourth part is reading for viewpoints. The tricky part is that what you get, the passage you are given, is something you may not be familiar with. For example, I'm not a science student. I didn't do the sciences. I was given something that had to do with astrophysics and something like that. It was really difficult because I don't know much about the subject matter. But here you're given a random topic, and you have to understand the topic and answer questions on it to see if you understood the reading passage. So reading correspondence, you read a very long, item, answer questions on it. Reading to apply a diagram, you see many things like it could be a letter with a sheet of diagrams. You're now trying to apply diagram. My own was like a zoo, which zoo to go to. So a particular zoo had an aquarium. A particular zoo did not have a place to eat. A particular zoo was cheaper. It was now a unique situation that a family that has so and so budgets, which zoo should they be able to go to if they want this and that. So I had to apply the diagram. I had to read the information, read the tables, apply the diagram, and answer the questions. So same thing applies for reading for information, reading for viewpoints. Just be careful in reading because they use a lot of synonyms. The thing you say in the passage they'll find a synonym for that word, like something close to that meaning. So if you're looking for, let's say, small, and the answer is petite, if you don't know the meaning of that petite means small, you could lose that mark. So it's very rare for them to put the same phrase that was in the question in the answer. So look for something that is close to the meaning of that in your answers. It could get complicated, but just try your best to understand. You don't have to understand everything about the passage, but understand the important points of the passage. And like listening, after you listen, you are taking to another page to answer. I think the page where you answer your questions still shows the passage, so you can be looking back and forth for the answers. That's the advantage. So for reading, now just try to challenge yourself to maybe pick up an article or pick up a blog post, or it can even be a gossip, whatever. Read something random and try to see what were the major points from this article. That will bring your mind to start looking out for highlighting points from an article or a piece of words. That will help because you can't really prepare for the actual passage I'll be giving to you on Thursday. But if you train your brain to start picking up salient points from a news article or from a passage, that will really help you in the reading section of the CELPIP exam. Let's move to number 3. Number 3 was writing. Honestly, I could be biased here. I got 12 in writing, but for those of you who follow me, by the way, please, if you are new here, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. This video took a lot. I prepared a lot for this video, trying to gather all the things that I feel that helped me. So if you are new here, please subscribe to my channel. Also like this video and share to your friends. So let's proceed to the writing section of the exam. Writing has 2 categories, and for me, I'll be honest, this was the simplest part of the entire exam for me. But it might be the hardest part for you because I'm a writer. I'm a professional writer. I write screenplays, I write articles, I write poetry sometimes. So this part of the exam was easy for me. I just had to understand the formats they were looking for. There are 2 sections of the writing exam: writing an email and responding to a survey question. So for email, it could be formal or informal. So if it is informal, that means you're writing to a friend or somebody you know. But if it is formal, you're writing to your boss, a colleague at work. Maybe you're complaining about a pair of shoes that you bought or a dress that you bought doesn't fit anymore. something of that nature, it's a formal letter. But you're writing to somebody you know very well, someone that you talk to, a friend, a family, a brother, it's an informal letter. So for just the formats of informal and formal is obviously different. I'll run through them really quickly because I don't want to dwell on it because I have to talk about speaking, and speaking as its task. So for informal, you can be like, hi Chris, give the person you're writing to a name. Don't just write hi Chris, hi Tom, hi David, hi whatever. But if it is somebody else, hello Mr. So and so. Give the person a name. It makes it more, formal. Or even if it's informal, you at least you know the person you're writing to. So hi Tom, hi Chris. Formal, hello Mr. David, hello Mr. Badmos. Give the person a name. For informal, you can bring familiarity. It's good to write to you once again. It's been a while since we spoke last. That kind of thing. You can bring introduce. You can start your first paragraph by doing a bit of familiarity. It's so nice to write to you once again. It's been about 3 months since I heard from you. Hope you are doing well. Hope you and your family are doing okay. Informal, but for formal letter, the moment you start, you go for the gun. I'm writing this letter to complain about the dress I bought yesterday. Be a bit specific with formal letter. Let's say you're complaining about the dress you bought and the dress tore while you were wearing it or something. Writing to complain about the dress I bought at your Toronto store yesterday, the 15th of October 2025. Just write that. That way you are detailed. You're not just writing, but you can see in informal you are beating about the bush, you're gracing the person, but formal, straight to the point. Then the second paragraph of your formal letter, you can now write what you are here for. So in the test, they will give you some key points of all the things you should discuss in the letter. Each point is for a paragraph. That's the best way I see it. I was at your store yesterday and you are giving more details, and I purchased a lilac dress shirt for an interview I have in a couple of days. I was in a hurry, so I couldn't test it, blah 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 blah. Then the last paragraph cannot be like, please, I would like an exchange of the products, and I have to wear so and so for my interview. Please, could I come to your Hamilton store because Toronto is far from me? You understand? You try to resolve the issue based on the key points that were addressed. For informal letter as well, it depends on what you're writing for. If you're writing to tell your friend that you're planning a birthday party for something, can you believe that Timothy's birthday is in 3 months, so I'm planning a surprise birthday party, and the details are so and so. I think we should surprise him on a boat cruise and just make him think he's going for a work event, and make it more formal. Don't make it too direct. Make it a bit more playful. For my closing, for both of them, I'll use yours sincerely. Because informal, you can just say cheers, and your first name. But for formal, you must use yours sincerely. You can decide to use yours sincerely for an informal letter. Yours sincerely, best regards, kind regards. But for the formal letter, please use yours sincerely and your first name. That's it. So responding to a survey question, you'll be given 2 options, maybe a petting zoo or a recreational garden for a particular forest. You just be formal. You'll be like, hello commissioner, or hello minister, because you're given 2 options. Let's say you want to go with the recreational garden. I believe that recreational garden will be the best option. For the thing about it is that you won't be given so much detail, but you have to expatiate for a well-rounded score, because you are giving clarity and I've forgotten what the marks are, but there's a point for being able to develop your ideas well. So even though they just give you something random, give a road. I believe that a recreational garden would be the best place for, I don't know, Pembroke Drive, and whatever points you want to give, think of the points and put them maybe for health and educational purposes. Then in the following paragraph, you now explain them one by one. The first paragraph can be about health, second paragraph can be about educational. But another thing to note is that we are thinking of ideas for why you should justify a particular reason is in task 2 of writing. Think of the following things. It's things we learned in primary or secondary school. When you look at the broad spectrum of life, but how would you recommend something? It can either be for health reasons, educational reasons, mental reasons, social reasons. Just break things down into like how do we interact with the world, because you have to back up why. Because the survey question, you have to back up why you believe this is the best option. You can give 2 or 3, but at least give 2 options, and each option should be broken down in a paragraph. Because if you give 3 options, which I think I gave two. I gave two options in mind. Each option should be in a paragraph. So I give, maybe for example, for mental health reasons, the recreational garden will be a good spot for people to take long walks while listening to a podcast. It will be a good opportunity for people to connect with other members of the community. You explain that part. You know, in the first paragraph, you just said for mental and physical reasons. Then the second part, educational reasons, it will be a good opportunity for kids to learn more about blah 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 blah. Then your last paragraph closed. For these reasons, or for the aforementioned reasons above, I believe that a recreational garden is the best choice for us, and I would really love if your space is used for this purpose. Please feel free to reach me if you have any further questions, and I'll be happy to help. Just wrap it up in a very, professional manner, because this tax 2 is a professional. It can be, tax 1 can be formal or informal depending on who you're writing to, but tax 2 is formal, so you just have to try to be as small as possible. Then another thing is that try to use complex sentences. I know it's really hard. The question is that don't just say I want to, I hope that. Try to start your words with like, however, therefore, in addition to this, I am of the opinion that, you understand. Try to start your words in complex, and you can use and to join your words, but, however, in the same vein. Those are great ways to start your sentence. Don't repeat one conjunction all the time. Another option might be but, however. You understand? Just try to make because it's a proficiency exam, so you have to show that you're not just at a basic level of proficiency. But I wouldn't worry too much about that, though it's important. I'll worry about my content being good enough. If your content is good, then at least you'll be sure of a 9. But if you want a 10, then you might need to find all these ways to add. I was totally shocked when I saw that I got a 12, because because even though writing was like, I was comfortable, writing felt familiar because I've been writing for years, but getting a 12 out of 12 in a writing exam, I'm so honored, and I'm happy to really be able to share my experience. Yeah, the last category is speaking. Now, for a lot of people, including myself, this is the hardest section of the exam. I think that's why it's coming last, because you exerted a lot of energy in learning, writing, and reading. When you now get to speaking and you have to answer 8 tasks where you're speaking for 45 minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes you're speaking for 1 minute. So it's tricky. But my advice is, look at that progress bar. Once you see that the progress bar is almost closing, just wrap it up. Because I was thinking that I will see a countdown of the time. I didn't see a countdown of the time. I think some people should actually consider doing that so that people can see that, oh, I have 2 seconds left and finish off. But it was just the progress bar that was closed. You know, when you're sending a file and you see a progress bar that is closing, that is what I was saying on the screen. My major tip about this is that once you see the progress bar, maybe it's like this and it's already like here, just thank you very much, wrap it up and finish your point and close it. I think there was like one task where I didn't finish, but I think the way I was cut off, I still ended my sentence. I'm so grateful for that, because even though it might have reduced my score. So let's talk about the 8th task. The first task is giving advice. This task was so simple to me, because what they usually ask for is your friend wants to lose weight, or your friend wants to start planning vacation. Just have to think of once you're giving like 15 or 20, I can't remember, I think you're giving 30 seconds to think of an idea. Just quickly write 3 points down. So let's say your friend wants to plan a vacation. I just number 1, budget friendly. Number 2, weather. Number 3, experiences. That's it. So while I write that, those 3 points taking about 15 seconds, and now the last 15 seconds to be thinking about how I'll develop those points. So when it comes to when the thing starts, because you will not even get the option to choose when to start the recording. It just starts immediately. So I was taking off balance a bit. Hello, David. I'm happy you decided to take a vacation for your 20-something birthday. That was not told in the prompt. The prompt was that my friend just wants to take a vacation and needs my advice. But remember what I said about consent and expanding your consent. So I expanded and I'm like, hello, David. I'm excited you want to take a trip for your 30th birthday. That shows I'm giving it what? I'm giving it depth. I'm giving it context. I will say 1, budget friendly. First off, before you choose a location, I want you to consider budget friendly areas. Don't go to a place that will be expensive because of so and so. Go for a more budget friendly place where you can blah 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 blah. So that after you return back, you won't be able to be struggled. You won't struggle to feed or pay your rent. Blah 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 blah. Now, number two, what's it called? Weather. Also, it's currently winter. Look for a place that won't be so cold, so you can still enjoy your travel time. And that will not even I can even link number two to number three. So, like I think about the weather. Go for a place that won't be too cold, so you can be able to enjoy your time there and have great experiences. Now, number three, it's also important for you to look for a place that has monumental places, lots of tourist attractions, so you can have great experiences. There is a point, they give points for being able to link your words together. So that's how I'll just say, use your preparation time judiciously. But don't, if nothing is coming to your head, just write the ones that come into your head and move on. Better to have 1 point than to have 0 points. Talking about the personal experience, this one, tax 2. If I cannot relate, I will just make something up. If I can relate, I will say the exact thing that happened to me. It could be that tell me about the time you planned for your friend's birthday. I mean, part of a friend's birthday planning, but I've never had to be like the lead person planning things, so I just made it up. I think about surprising my friend at a on a yacht, on a boat cruise. It was totally made up. They will not know as long as you are confident. That is the major thing about speaking. Even if you use filler words, those once you say it once or twice, pick yourself back up, because honestly, when the nerves enter, you're seeing the progress bar closing. M and R is allowed because it's part of even the what's it called, Canadian or American natives still use R and M. Matter of fact, we learned it from them. Just say it once and pick yourself back up. Use your preparation time to develop your points. Talking about this, describing a scene can be really tricky because they just give you a picture. So one thing I'll say here is that describe the background, describe the foreground, the part of the picture that is closest to you. Describe the foreground. Say what is happening. For example, you see the picture of a gym. At some point, are walking in, somebody is lifting weights. Somebody is just say the picture I can see in front of me is the picture of a gym. Take a pause. In the foreground, I can see a man doing bench presses. In the background, I can see a lady skipping. Everybody here seems to be working out. Trust me, it is better to say 4 sentences than to say rubbish sentences. Take your time. See, if you don't describe everything in the picture in task 3, but you describe 3 or 4 valid points, it's still better than describing rubbish. You understand? So take your time. The picture I'm seeing here is the picture. I know my own picture was even worse. My picture was the picture of the streets, and there were trees here. There was an open door. I was so confused. Where do I start from? But I described the general picture. I'm seeing the picture of an outdoor. I think an outdoor. I think I called it an outdoor trail. I just made something of an outdoor trail, but I wrote those things down with my preparation time. Beside me, I can see green trees. I was just describing little by little by little. So describe the whole, then start to describe the parts. That's a good way to go. So making predictions, it's still that same picture. So you're now like, what will happen next? So, for example, the picture of the gym, maybe the door was open. You'll be like, you can say that people will enter the gym soon. The guy doing bench presses will drop the weights. The girl skipping will catch her breath. Just use your initiative to deduce what will happen next. So another thing that can help you, like in this picture, everyone is working out. However, I can tell that very soon somebody will walk into the door. Pause. The guy who is doing bench presses will drop the weights and take a break. The girl who is skipping will stop skipping and catch her breath. Dealing with the difficult situation. Now, this one can be quite tricky because you have to pick a side. When you see the question, pick a side quickly and start developing points for that side. Because once you pay for the exam, you have access to the CELPIP resources. So in CELPIP resources, you can see past questions. You can have an idea of how this thing goes. Or you can watch this video and be looking at the resources side by side. It will really help you a great deal. So expressing opinions is another one. You have to give your own unbiased opinion about something. Now, these things are tricky because it has to do with ethical things. So there is no right or there is no wrong side to pick. Just pick one. Now, for tax 6 and tax 7, even tax 8, pick one side and just go with it. Rather than, should I pick task A, should I pick task B, should I pick task A? No, that you are wasting your preparation time. Just look at them critically. Whichever one you are convicted by, just pick that one and start developing points for it. Speaking as it's as a task, and it will get draining. But just remember what I said. Describe, relax. Describe, relax. Take a pause. And even if you mistakenly say, it's not even a mistake, even if you say just put yourself together and continue describing. Don't be worried that I said a lot of that. What I was worried because I said a lot of m's and then it was later on I reduced them totally. The fact that I said and m and I still got 12 means that you should not worry about it. Just be confident. I think the and m comes from a place when you're not confident. And also so also try to, maybe you're giving someone advice. So also try to, you're giving someone advice, you need to come from a place of an opinion leader in that area. So you understand this thing very well. I believe that you should go for a location that will be cost friendly because you want to come back and still be able to feed yourself and pay your rent. Be confident in the speaking exam. If you make a mistake, correct yourself and move on. Don't, if you say M and M, continue. Don't now take a long pause without anything, or don't fidget. Confidence is key, and the graders can read through that. Okay, so we begin with the concluding part of this video. Believe it or not, the framing and the lighting is a bit different because I just realized when I was editing that the mic went off and I had no audio, so I had to wear the same shirt, set the camera again, and record the ending part of this video. So just before we go, I just want to give some general tips that will help you as you prepare for the CELPIP exam, especially when it comes to test day. The first thing I would say is that please, especially if you're testing in the morning, please take time to sleep and rest. I made a mistake of, I had a late night shift and I was practicing overnight up until like very early the next morning. I felt a bit fatigued during my test. So during the listening, which was my lowest score, I was yawning. So please, please, please take time out to rest. You can practice the morning before the test, but don't give your sleep away as a to compensate for extra hours of study. Don't do that. Secondly, goes without saying, also grab something to eat if you're testing in the morning. Don't go on an empty stomach like me. Thirdly, be calm, relax. It's an English test. If you already use English in your daily conversations, that's what you're going to be testing. Yeah, there are technical questions that could test your proficiency, but it's just an English test at the base of everything. Lastly, another thing I like to say is that don't let one mistake hold you back. During the test, if you realize that you made a mistake and you can't go back to correct that mistake, that's already gone. Focus on getting the most marks that are already left. I made a mistake in my listening test and I realized that I didn't finish answering all the questions and it took me to a new page. I was like, oh, I missed some marks there, but I just realized that I just have to keep going and still try to get the best score I could possibly get. That's what I would advise you to do. If you need to use the restroom, use the restroom during your writing test. And I wish you all the best in your CELPIP exam. Please, if you watch this video and you took CELPIP exam, let me know your scores in the comment section. I really like to hear the good news from all or you who watch this video. Okay, so we've come to the end of this video. Please, if you watch this far, please don't forget to like this video, share to your friends, and please, please, please subscribe to my channel. It really help me as a creator. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I make videos on lifestyle and also teach on general things. So I'll see you in my next video. Until then, bye bye.